Our next topic is Pope's meeting with Kentucky clerk Kim Davis divides public after U.S. visit. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. All right, guys, let's get into this video. Here we go. Nope. Sorry, sci-fi. Or sci-show.
Now to that secret meeting between Kim Davis and Pope Francis. The Kentucky County clerk who refuses to license same-sex marriage says the meeting happened in Washington last week, and this morning she's talking about it for the first time. ABC's Paula Ferris here with that story. Good morning, Paula.
Hey, good morning, George. You know, Kim Davis told me this was always about her religious liberty and her conscience, and she's apparently got Pope Francis in her corner. We're told the Vatican reached out to her several weeks back, arranged this secret meeting with her, and until now, they've kept it under wraps.
With enthusiastic crowds lining the streets from New York to D.C., the Pope seemed to strike just the right note with Americans on his visit. But now, this morning, reports of a secret meeting with Kim Davis, the county clerk in Kentucky, who defied a court order to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples.
It was really very humbling to even think that he would want to, meet me or know me.
She says she and her husband met the Pope during the Washington leg of his trip after receiving a surprise phone call from a Vatican official.
I put my hand out, and he reached and he grabbed it, and I hugged him, and he hugged me, and he said, "Thank you for your courage."
After being jailed for 6 days, Davis is now back at work, but still not issuing any marriage licenses, a stance Pope Francis voiced his support for during a press conference on his flight back to Rome.
Do you support those kinds of claims of religious liberty?
Telling ABC's Terry Moran, conscientious objection is a human right, even for government officials.
He told me before he left, he said, "Stay strong." That was a great encouragement. Just knowing that the Pope is on track, with what we're doing and agreeing, kind of validates everything.
According to Davis and her lawyer, Vatican officials stayed mum on the meeting because they didn't want the Pope's visit to be focused on Kim Davis. Davis saying the Pope left her with a rosary and a renewed commitment to her cause.
I've weighed the cost, and I'm prepared to do whatever it takes.
And Kim Davis plans on giving that rosary to her parents, who are Catholic. Of course, she's not. At this point, the Vatican is not confirming or denying this meeting took place, but Kim's counsel tells us we can expect to see photos of the meeting at some point. Lara, this Pope is not shying away from controversy. This is the clearest example yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Paula.
The funny thing about that real quick, and Drew, you can go, is she says, Kim Davis goes, well, it validates everything. It validates what? That you're a fucking bigot and the Pope supports bigotry? I'm like, what the fuck? Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, just, fuck the Pope. Fuck the Pope. I mean, it's ridiculous. And by the way, that chick, is she not fucking, that has to be like Kathy Bates in Misery, like her sister. It's like, god damn, dude, like the same clothes. I've seen the memes on Facebook comparing them, dude. It's like this, it's the same clothes, the same look. Oh, like if you stayed at her house, you would wake up like strapped to the bed when she's breaking your ankles. I'm telling you, god damn it. But yeah, the
only does it for your own good, Drew.
Yeah, she does it for my own good. Yeah, but yeah, the fucking Pope though. Jesus, I mean, because it's a lot of people. I guess I don't want to say have been, bamboozled or whatever by this Pope, but there's a lot more, people on the left and stuff. Because I mean, the Pope has said some things that I would agree with that are good ideas, but that goes to show you still how backwards a lot of that shit is.
Yeah, the Pope has actually been talking decently.
The right wing has shit on the Pope. This Pope more than like any other Pope.
Yeah, they're claiming he's too liberal and shit like that.
Too liberal. But here he is and saying stupid shit like your religious rights take, ground over the law, even if you're a government official. So if you're a cop, and you see someone committing a crime or whatever, but it's okay with your religion, then you can make that choice, I guess. You can be like, well, the Bible says this about this situation, whereas the U.S. law, the people I work fucking for, say this, which is different. But I get to just choose my religion because that's what I like better. Look, if you don't want to handle pork, don't work at a place that sells it. If you don't want to give marriages to people that, and she's not giving any marriage licenses, which I would like to point out is totally against the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, like, they can't get enough fucking marriage. Marriage makes everything better. Marriage. They push that marriage shit. That's why Bill O'Reilly pushes this marriage shit as if it's like the solution to all the world's problems. But he's saying, oh no, I support her not giving out any marriage licenses because she's too hateful to do her own fucking job. And what do you think you're gonna burn in hell for putting your name on a piece of paper? Then resign. Don't go through this whole like Christian martyrdom
victim. Yeah.
and act like oh poor you, dude. I work with shellfish. If I fucking turn into a creationist tomorrow or some shit, and I decide that I can't touch or be around shellfish or anything else, then I quit. I don't say, hey, find a way to, because I'll tell you what they'll do. They'll put me in the goddamn dish room. At my restaurant. So that would be the stupidest fucking decision ever. And like this Muslim guy that was working at Target and he didn't want to touch and ring up pork as a cashier. Then they put him on cart duty. He's like, no, I wanted to work produce. But there's no openings in produce right now. You don't just get whatever you want. This idea is, I mean, as a liberal who thinks people should be able to do what they want, I can still accept that businesses can't just let their employees do and choose their work. Like, that's not how it works. And if you work for the fucking government, you take your orders from the government. And if they choose something you don't like, then you can fucking resign. You don't have to act. This martyrdom shit really turns me off from Kim Davis. Fuck her and her farmer ass husband. Both of them. And Mike, I mean, look at the people who support her, for fuck's sake. Mike Huckabee is like her biggest supporter. Yeah. So right off the bat, you know she's a piece of shit.
And another good
from a guy like him without being a complete piece of shit.
Yeah, another good example is that Muslim lady that refused to serve beverages, alcoholic beverages to passengers. I'm just like, what the fuck? She got fired ultimately, but you know, she's trying to press that case. But hey, just like you said, if you don't want to do it, leave. Go into another department or just quit. Find another job.
Won't take
it sounds sad, but whatever.
Quit and go find another fucking job. It's that simple. That, and this is coming from a lot of free market people. They're all about the free market. But then at the same time, they want everything to bend to my religious views. The free market is great. The only regulation is how I view shit, because that makes total sense.
Yeah. I want to bring up a quote here from Raw's story, and this is by Matt Starver, who is the attorney for Davis, and he's also the founder of Liberty Counsel. He quotes here, "It was really a meeting between the Pope and Kim Davis and her husband Joe to encourage her," he said. "It was an amazing opportunity for her, I should say, to meet the Pope and for him to be able to stand beside another Christian and to encourage another person who exercised her faith and went to jail for it." Now, encouraging what? Christians, that it's okay for you to be a bigot, to fight against the U.S. Constitution, not adhering to the laws out there, and becoming an anti-American. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and coming
anti-equality
from the Church, by the way, who is
what was the name?
Fucking record of ignoring
Matt
the
Starver.
law and trying to sidestep it when it comes to their own like pedophilia and shit like that.
Exactly.
What was the name of that again, Joe?
What, the attorney?
Yeah, the firm or whatever.
Matt
he's
Staver.
from.
Matt Staver. He's the founder of Liberty Counsel.
Liberty Counsel
Yeah.
kind of sounds like Liberty University and all the rest of the stupid place like that. Well, but it is good to see that the old enemies are teaming up. You know, the Catholics and the Protestants at it again to battle the horrible thing that is secularism that's ruining this country.
No.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, what the Pope is doing here, in my own submission, you know, we don't know exactly what the Pope said to her, of course. We got to keep an open mind, but we can only see what's been stated here in this video, is that the only thing he's doing is supporting bigotry and discrimination. You know, Kim believes the LGBT shouldn't have the same rights as she does, even though she's been married 4 times, right? You know,
But it's not that she believes it;
hypocrisy.
it's that God said so. And that
God, right.
gives what you choose and your opinion all of a sudden gets the weight to outweigh the government and what your fucking job title and what your job description is. As long as you say, no, it's not that I hate gays; it's that God. Well, in that case, and if we're okay with that, then any Muslim people out there working for the government, jihad. You can just jihad because that's your religion, right? And we should just be fine with that. And you could just do whatever you want as long as it's in your God's name and it's your moral conscience. Fuck off, do your goddamn job, or get the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is the damage Christians are doing to themselves. It's dividing the community, the Christian community out there. You know, the LGBT, of course, has, you know, they have the right for marriage equality. You know, why is Kim still pushing this narrative of religious freedom? It has nothing to do with her religious freedom, especially with the job that she performs. This is evident as the courts have stated this. Just do your fucking job. I'm like, you're not being persecuted. Okay.
Well,
Stop being a victim.
It's easy
Stop playing the
because
victim card.
there's
I'm
no
like,
higher authority than God.
Yeah.
Remember?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
there's no higher authority than God, no higher authority than Allah. So whenever you're talking about government and what man-made law, it doesn't matter. What matters is what's in Scripture.
Go apply with Jesus, or be a priest or a nun or some shit. If that's your fucking end goal,
it doesn't matter. This is a Christian country, cock.
Oh, I forgot about that. Damn, you got me.
You gotta keep that in mind, cock.
Fuck, man. Damn it. In fact, even if this is my favorite, easiest argument against Christians who say America was a Christian nation, even if all the founding fathers were Christian, right, and they all agreed on it, they still were smart enough to put it in the fucking Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. They separated the shit. Yeah. They did not fucking make it so that we are a religious or Christian nation. That was what was so crazy back then when they fucking started this shit, because it was like, no, that's unheard of. People don't even it won't work. And now we have gone back and they have gone back and retroactively changed history to ignore that and instead say, you know why it worked? Jesus.
Exactly. You know,
there's all kinds of people who are revising history to suit their needs nowadays. I mean, well, I'm sure we'll touch on that with the illiberal left too, with God.
Yeah,
some point we'll hear that
historic revisionists.
The Vikings had big penises or something like that. We all know that's fucking false. Stop revising history.
Like I said earlier, it's so funny how people claim. Sasquatch. It's so funny how people claim that Pope Francis is so liberal, you know, but then he comes and creates this havoc with Kim Davis and backing her on her bigotry, and of course he's not American like people state, but the Pope, of course, is wrong here.
Yeah, they talk about him like, you know, he's the PR Pope.
The PR Pope.
What he's doing. He's trying to shape it because, you know, the last guy hid pedophiles,
complete cocksucker,
fucking, you know, from being held accountable for their crimes and shit. Shuffled around pedophile priests to different, you know, districts and shit so they could avoid detection from law enforcement.
Yeah.
So now they got this guy in there and they want to kind of paint this guy as like, oh, the good guy. We're like, we're nice. We're so modern, aren't we? You know, we're not burning people anymore. You know, like that kind of thing.
No, exactly. Yeah, well said.
Yeah, he might have better modern views, but it's still a fucking backwards ass organization that still harbors criminals to this day and still covers up criminal activity to this day. So, I mean, it's just like a new face on the old organization. It's as if you look at the new mob bosses who took over from the old mob bosses, same shit, different person.